Alright, so I went through the last couple of days of video, and I think I'm going to trash most of it. I don't know what was going on. I must have been in a funk or something, but you know, I don't know if I'm a guy that's on a 7-month cross-country trip and not have to worry about anything, or a guy who just lost his dog. I mean, it was it was pretty bad. The place that I stayed at in Washington National, I mean, there was nothing special about it, but it was really quiet, clean campgrounds, and but it did rain. I found another issue with the Jeep, which I'm going to show you here in a minute. That was a result, I think, of hitting that bike still. But other than that, I mean, there was nothing else going on. It was quiet, it was rainy, it was kind of dreary. But after spending 2 nights there, I decided to get out and try checking things out, and I'm glad I did. I went through the mountains of West Virginia, went into some really cool areas, dirt country roads, and in that part of the country, those people are definitely out there to get away. There are more cars that don't work than do, and those people just want to be left alone. So for that reason, I didn't. There were some really pretty areas. I wanted to launch my drone near some creeks and streams and stuff like that. But it's also the type of place where it'll probably get shot down, and then the sheriff will probably laugh at you if you complained about it. And hey, I respect that. They're out there for a reason. So I just passed through, really enjoyed the scenery, took some video from the Jeep that I'll show, but the roads were cool. The West Virginia is just an absolutely beautiful state when it comes to the mountainous areas. It hasn't really, in a lot of areas, you haven't even seen spring here, and it's still absolutely gorgeous. So I can only imagine how beautiful it is when, you know, it is all green. But there was a lot of new green in some areas, and there was some flowering in others. But Rob, I think I'm going to have to go home with you one day and check out where you live and where you're building that little cabin in the woods, because, man, West Virginia is awesome. So I've only ever driven through it on the highways, never took time to do anything else. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I got out. So recharged, feel a lot better. You know, I'm just going to set up camp here and just stay for the night. I'm not sure, well, I know the name of the forest, but I can't pronounce it, so I'll show you a picture of it here. But I'd like to spend, you know, at least tomorrow kind of going through the forest, going through a lot of these service roads, roads with no name technically, and just checking things out. So I've got still 3/4 of a tank of gas, and just kind of make my way southbound in this forest, and you know, decide where I'm going to stop later. I had found this spot from the last spot that I was at, and it said primitive camping, and a couple of cars could fit here, but the people that left reviews said no one else was ever here when they were, so that's perfect for me. So like it's getting actually kind of cold. It is damp here. It's supposed to get down to 38 down below this elevation, so I'm sure it's going to get colder than that here. No big deal. I'll you know, just dress warm. I probably won't even crawl in my sleeping bag like the other night when it was freezing. But unfortunately, where I'm at, it's kind of wet ground, so I'm gonna have to just be careful getting in and out of the Jeep. I don't track a bunch of crap inside. But other than that, I'm gonna cut some video, take a look and see where I can go tomorrow, or I might just wing it. Maybe I'll just skip that part and just start driving, as long as it doesn't say no trespassing or dead end road or, you know, private property. Just try them out like I've been. I enjoy doing that. So anyway, I'm going to show some footage here of just clips here and there of my last couple of days, focusing on the highlights and not the rest of it. Man, what a bummer that was. But anyway, talk to you next time. Like, subscribe, and leave your comments below. Stick around for the extra footage. So I made it to the campground, and it's Hawk Campground, and it's actually the George Washington National Forest. The Jefferson and George Washington kind of run together. So when I pulled in, there was a couple in one of the camp spots, but apparently they just left, and I think I'm the only one here. And it might be because on the sign, one of the signs to get here, it said that the road was closed to get here February, March, and April. I went down it anyway, and the gate was okay. So I've got the tarp set up. It's nothing more than tarp being held up by these bar magnets, which even in winds I haven't had an issue with. Usually I tie up to a tree. This time I'm tying up to tent poles and a stake in the ground. See how that holds up. Probably not as good as a tree, but if it falls down, no big deal. It's just a cheap tarp. But I've got about an hour, so 67 minutes before the rain starts, according to AccuWeather. So I'm gonna go ahead and make something to eat. I've got everything kind of moved around, so when I crawl in there, I'll have plenty of room to just chill out while it's raining, probably for a good part of the rest of the day. So after some of the rains, I decided to take a quick walk around the campsite, and I think there's 15 sites here, and I am literally the only one out here. It is Good Friday. I thought that maybe there'd be a few other people out here because of a long weekend or something, but I've heard 1 or 2 cars go by on the road down below, but other than that, nothing. So, and I've been watching the radar, and some pretty nasty stuff has went right around this particular location. I think I'm gonna get some heavy rains here in the next 2 hours possibly, but as of yet, everything's kind of bypassed this area except for some light rains and a few wind gusts, maybe about 20 miles per hour, nothing more than that. And I've had to tighten the shelter a little bit, but everything's pretty much stayed in place. So see how this evening goes, but I'm gonna have another really quiet night, I think. So I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be pretty cool out here. So check that out. I have a leak in my back hatch. I don't know if that's because I didn't close the door all the way or because of when I banged it the other day with when I damaged the bike and I pushed in the back hatch a little bit. But it looked like it was just sheet metal damage. I can't imagine that I hurt it that bad. But I'm gonna have to go out there, open this up, close it, and see if that seals it, and if not, I'm gonna have to figure something else out. Well, I went out there and slammed the door shut. I got a few more drips, but nothing since. Oh, there it goes. So, yeah, I think I got a bigger problem. Oh, man. Well, just a bit more fun, I guess. Alright, so I just went out there, got completely soaked, and I had an extra tarp, so I folded it up, stuffed it up underneath the roof rack, and then I had it drape over the top part of the hatch there, and I'm hoping that that'll divert enough water that it won't leak through. It seemed to only leak when it was really raining hard, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, now I'm soaked. Luckily it's not that cold out, and I should dry off here without a problem. And now I have to keep watching it, see if there's any more drips. I got the fan blowing on the blanket that got soaked, and part of my sleeping bag that got wet because I didn't notice it for quite a while, but luckily I did. And it wasn't until I just tried to crawl into bed and chill out here and I realized that my feet were wet. So Yeah, I guess I got lucky that I caught it when I did, but so I actually didn't have any more leaking last night after I put the tarp over it, so obviously it's a draining issue. I did take a couple of leaves out of there. Maybe it could have affected the flow, but more than likely it's not sealing properly. I did notice that on the right hand side the gap between the tailgate and the body is a little bit wider than on this side, so maybe there was some movement when I hit the back of this when I backed into that tree and damaged the bike. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen these bolts and see if I can't move the tailgate a little bit. Hopefully that will help and it won't make it worse, but either way I'm just going to have to be cognizant of that going forward, and you know, just see what happens and try to correct it. And if not, I'll know I'm going to need to keep a rag up there or something to keep it from leaking inside the cab until I can get this fixed. For today, I'm just going to stay here. It's kind of nice. I was here all alone for a while, and then someone came up and parked right next to me, but she ended up leaving late in the morning. It's about, I don't know, 1 o'clock now. And I've had a couple of other visitors show up, so I'll have some company tonight. It is kind of a eerie feeling to be out here in the middle of the forest all alone. And she didn't show up probably till about midnight, I would say. But especially with the rains and things falling on the Jeep and things moving, it's an interesting feeling, especially when you turn off the phone and you realize that you didn't have any lights on and it is just pitch black. It was kind of cool, but interesting at the same time. I think I'm gonna pull up stakes tomorrow and head to another forest in West Virginia, but for today it's just going to be a chill day. And I just busted out lunch. Got sriracha Bush's beans, and I'm eating it right out of the can. You can get away with a whole lot when you're sleeping alone, so. And I need to make space where that was stored, so that was another reason why I ate that. But I might regret it a little bit later. Good thing is there's toilets and there's a whole lot of space out there, so at least things go wrong, it won't be catastrophic. Alright, it is Sunday morning, and it was a bit chilly when I woke up. It was about 50 degrees inside. I don't know why, but it felt colder than when it was 34 the other day. But it is a nice, clear, well, semi-clear sky. At least I can see the blue this time. And I didn't end up burning a fire launching the drone last night because it was just too windy. Some other people had fires going, but I didn't feel like dealing with it. I also did mess with the tailgate. I messed with those bolts up top. Nothing seemed to work. What I ended up doing was, after I made some adjustments that I thought would work, I dumped water, that bottle of water, I dumped it all up along the top there, and it still leaked. So what I did was, in this channel, this comes apart for the seal, it didn't seem to be making contact with some of the metal up here, which is why I think the water's rushing up from behind, getting in behind this plastic and dripping down here. That's all I can gather. So I took some long rubber bands and stuffed them up inside the channel, and the whole point of that was to push this upward so that it would make contact with the metal. I dumped some more water and that didn't leak at that point in time. So I'll see if that ends up being what works, because adjusting the tailgate didn't. And I just stuffed the paper towel up here just to give me an indication as to if I have any dampness, and that means I've got another leak. So under heavy rains, I'm just going to have to keep my eye on it, but that's that for now. I'm not going to do a whole lot else. Like I said, the adjustments didn't seem to work, but maybe I'll play with that some other day. So I'm going to reconfigure this thing for getting back on the road, head to the next national forest. So on my way to the next place, I noticed the sign, instead of taking normal Route 55, and I'm not sure if that's part of it or not, I saw Old 55, so I jumped on that. So instead of going on those kind of bridges, I opted to go on these kind up here. I love taking the back roads. I love small town America, and there's just so much more to see, I think, taking your time doing the back roads. And jumping on the highways and the byways. When you program Garmin to take dirt roads, if it'll get you there in a shorter distance, it definitely takes you on the dirt roads. So I'm in the mountains of West Virginia, and there are a lot of trees, a lot of posts with the purple posted on them. You probably get a lot of hunters out here in this way, and it's a clear sign to stay the hell off of their property, or anybody else like me. So I'm just passing through, and you definitely don't want to go onto any of these lands when you see the purple. You end up seeing these things in the distance, and everybody has their opinion on them, but man, does it make the landscape look awful. I can't imagine having a house looking at the mountains for years and years and then waking up and having to see that. I mean, these literally follow the top of the mountains all over on both sides. But I drove near one, and I've never been this close to one, so I'm gonna stop talking, and I don't know if you can pick up this sound or not, but it's really eerie. So you can hear the sound of the motor, but then you can also hear the blades cutting through the air. It's kind of weird. And you know, just looking throughout all these, like these 5 here, 2 of them aren't even working, and then over there 2 of the 4 aren't even working. So I don't know what's up with that. I see that all the time when I'm going across the country, and these things are dotting all over the place. Just weird. I don't know if they're set up that way or if they're actually broken. But anyway, I thought that was kind of neat, kind of weird at the same time. Alright, so I made it back on another really cool off-road trail, and not necessarily so bad that you needed 4x4, but it was interesting nonetheless. Not a whole lot of traffic, I would imagine, comes through here, but I didn't see anybody on the way coming out or coming in. This is going to be a one-night stop. Let me show you around real quick. It is really, really damp in this area, so you can see by all the moss growing. This picnic table's pretty cool, but it's definitely seen better days. Somebody left a whole bunch of wood. I'm not going to be doing any burning tonight though. And you can also hear the stream that is on the other side of the Jeep. So I'll walk down there real quick and show you around. Unfortunately, it's really overgrown, so it's kind of hard to see a lot of it. So here you go. And so that's heading down. A couple of cool waterfalls there. And then some more really small waterfalls there. But it makes for a really nice sound in the middle of the night, especially when I'm not going to hear anything else probably around here. So there's the stream. And up there's the Jeep.